your dreams.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Snowbreak Containment Zone video. And today I'm going to be talking about the new Riptide Marian, the new free character that you can get in Snowbreak Containment Zone. By the way, if you happen to like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. So Marian is a new sub DPS chaos character that you can get in Snowbreak Containment Zone for free currently right now. I've been playing her for quite a bit. I thought that she was kind of confusing at first, but after a while I managed to get used to her kit. I think the new Riptide Marian is probably one of the strongest sub DPS characters currently in the game. The best part about her is that she is currently right now free. Basically what she does, one of her best parts of her kit is her Duelos alignment. Basically, when she's equipped with a chaos weapon, she'll basically increase your party's standard skill damage. If we compare her to the 5-star Enya, in order for Enya to boost her party's standard skill damage, she basically has to use her support skill, and the character basically has to be deployed on her circle. But with the new Riptide Marian, all you gotta do is just have her in your party, equip her with a chaos weapon, and boom, your standard skill damage is already pretty good. So if you did miss out on the free 5-star Enya, you at least have a chance to get the free 5-star Marian, and the Riptide Marian will basically increase your party's standard skill damage. So if you did manage to pick up Cherno, I do believe she was available last patch. If you have the new 5-star Marian, you basically have a buff for your Cherno. Riptide Marian will basically buff any character that uses their standard skill. The new Kadia that's currently out, Haru. 5-star Enya doesn't really work well with Haru because 5-star Enya also relies on ballistic damage in order to increase like certain stacks. Riptide Marian doesn't really have many requirements to use. All she needs is a chaos weapon, and she basically automatically increases your party's standard skill damage. While 5-star Enya requires you to be in her circle, and you also have to deal ballistic damage, a quick amount of ballistic damage, and Haru can't really dish out that much ballistic damage since she's a pistol user. Cherno bros and Haru bros are not the only people that are eating well. The new Kadia also benefits from the Riptide Marian. Dawnwing Kadia does use standard skill damage, so she'll definitely benefit from Riptide Marian. Another interesting part about Marian's kit is her support skill. Her support skill also has a passive effect, so you don't actually have to actively press on her support skill. As for the passive effect, basically whenever your party members uses a standard skill, Marian will basically get this thing called a Tide Wave Song. Not Tide Wave Song, I meant Tide Song. She gains 3 every 1 second, and she also gains a few after your party or after your character uses a standard skill. Every 25 of the Tide Song will basically be converted into a Tide Song shell, and she'll basically have up to 4 of them. So basically when Marian gets 100 Tide Song, she'll basically have 4 of these Tide Song shells. When Marian does have 100 of these things, her support skill will basically light up. You use it, she'll basically be on the field with this, I don't know how to describe it. Screen will look a little different, but basically whenever she's in this mode, she deals a lot of more damage. This thing that she has is basically called the Kraken magazine. Riptide Marian's main source of damage is basically going to be coming from this. Basically, the TLDR to use the Riptide Marian is basically have your main DPS on field, and then whenever Marian's support skill lights up, you use it. Shoot the enemy a few times for some extra damage. Use Marian's standard skill. Her standard skill basically provides her with the Kraken magazine. This Kraken magazine mechanic is basically like a special bullet that makes Marian deal a shit ton of damage. So Riptide Marian basically has 2 ways to get this Kraken magazine in order for her to deal more damage. Number 1, just use her standard skill. Number 2, the other DPS in your party basically shoots and uses their standard skill in order to provide Marian the Kraken magazine. And once Marian's support skill lights up, you basically use that and, you know, shoot the enemy at least 4 times and boom, you deal a lot of damage with Marian. I think Riptide Marian's best teammate is going to be the Dawnwing Kadia, since Kadia can basically help rack up the Tide Song shells, since the new Kadia can basically spam her standard skill as much as she wants. But it's not really like you need Downwing Kadia. You can pair her up with Cherno, or you can even pair her up with Haru. I think Riptide Marian's kit is very good, and I hope in the future the developers of this game, Seasun Games, makes more characters that are pretty similar to the Riptide Marian. Give them some type of passive that basically benefits the party, and when they get on the field, they deal a crap ton of damage. I want to talk about Riptide Marian's new 5-star weapon real quick because it is a pretty good fucking weapon. The Abyssal Nymph will basically increase Marian's standard skill damage by 15%, but by 30%, sorry. When Marian is off field, she'll basically increase that character's standard skill damage by 15%. So not only does Marian's Duelos alignment increase the party's standard skill damage based off of alignment index, she also has a weapon that basically increases your party's standard skill damage. And the other effects of the weapon is basically, you know, Marian's Kraken magazine will basically deal more damage and ignore the enemy's chaos resistance. Anyways, her weapon is a pretty good source for more standard skill damage if you are interested in that. Now, as for the Riptide Marian's 4-star weapon, it's obviously not as good as the 5-star weapon. Her 4-star weapon, the Prismal Opal, basically increases Marian's personal damage. 4-star weapon doesn't really have an effect on the party's damage. 4-star weapon is pretty good for her personal damage since Marian's basically the only character that can really use the passive, since the passive requires you to have the special clip, which is the Kraken magazine. I haven't talked about Riptide Marian's burst because I don't even think I've used it yet. I've been playing her for like 45 minutes now. I didn't really see a need to use her burst, so I don't really think her burst is really that important, especially since her support and her standard skill are basically her main sources of damage. Anyways, I think she is worth building. You should definitely build her if you get her. She gets free logistics. All you have to do is just get chaos damage on her logistics and you're basically good to go on your Riptide Marian. That's going to be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think about Riptide Marian, and I will see you guys later.